Good morning. Today we are going to present our project, which includes an analysis of Caraballo, the selected sector, our proposal, and the final conclusions. Here is the index with the 4 phases. And now we are going to talk about the phase 1, the Caraballo's analysis. Caraballo is actually one of the oldest districts in Lima. Its history starts with the first group that settled near the Chillon River, the Chivateros people. With time, they became sedentary, developed horticulture, and built these U-shaped complexes. Later, during the colonial period, the district was officially founded as San Pedro de Caraballo, and so the district began to grow as seen on the map. Geographically, Caraballo sits between two hills that basically funnel the wine straight into the urban area, which makes pollution spread even more. And the district mixes flat zones, which are good for agriculture and urban road, with steep hillside areas that make development more complicated. The Chillon Valley is still productive, but it faces problems. The river is polluted, the brick factories contribute emissions, and there is a landfill that receives more than 800 tons of waste every day. Caraballo is actually one of the oldest districts in Lima. Its history starts with the first group that settled near the Chillon River, the Chivateros people. In terms of population, Caraballo has over 421,000 inhabitants and keeps growing at about 2% per year. It's a very young district, around a third of the population is under 14, and it has received a lot of migration from Andean and Amazonian regions, which explains its rapid expansion. By 2030, the population might pass 500,000. Economically, commerce is a main activity, although most of it is informal. Manufacturing, construction, and some agriculture also play a role. Poverty still affects roughly a third of the population, and the economy depends strongly on informal market and small-scale businesses. In terms of land use, Caraballo combines residential, commercial, industrial, and agricultural areas. There are also expansion zones that keep pushing the urban edge outward. So the district still has this mix of consolidated spaces and areas that feel more rural.
About the typology of buildings in the Caraballo district, medium density housing predominates with buildings ranging from 2 to 5 floors. The soil type of Caraballo is vary between sandy, clayey, and rocky. In areas with the steep slopes, the soil types found are sandy and rocky. In areas with low or no slope, the soil types are sandy and clayey. Housing material, wall material, and floor material. The wall material is about the quincha, reed mats, wood, adobe, and bricks. And the flooring material, it's concrete, earth, tiles, parquet, stones. Any problems, for example, in the housing problems, sandy soils, walls without floor beams, cracks and slip pores or not workmanship. Well, the Caraballo actually have a lot of problems, for example, environmental problems. These problems affect Chillon River pollution, this caused by wastewater, solid waste, farming, pig farms, tanneries, and brick factories. Second, wind effect. This is located between hills, wind, concentrate pollution in urban areas, and an El Zapal landlift. He's received 800 tons of garbage daily. The second, these social and health problems. For example, deficit of health service. This is caused by many centers in poor condition, some without water and electricity, high incidence of respiratory disease, asthma, pneumonia, tuberculosis, and due to gold nights and air pollution. Monetary poverty affects 23.1% and up to 32.7% of the population. And finally, lower and economic informality. This informal commerce dominates 76.2% of commercial activity. And the final, it's urban and housing problems. And this is about water supply deficit. Caraballo ranks the 7th national among municipalities with the largest water deficit. Infrastructure gaps. Only 3.8% of households connect to natural gas, irregular electricity in informal settlements. And natural hazards, landslide, flood from poor drainage, and high seismic risk. We'll continue with the Caraballo phase 2. About the zoning of Caraballo have a lot of equipment. For example, Chillon Market, Macucapac Metropolitan Club, School, PNP, Municipality of Caraballo, and La Cultura Sports File. Caraballo have residential zones. Residential zones are predominantly medium density housing, and also have commercial zones. The commercial zones are concentrated along main roads with neighborhood business, such as restaurants, small hotels, grocery stores, and service shops. About the health zones, no major health centers are registered. Instead, the area includes private laboratories, clinics, and polyclinics providing basic medical service. And final, public recreation. This is mostly in good condition with numerous sports fields and parks, well distributed and easily accessible from the residential areas. Well, about the roads in Carvalho, uh, the roads is connectivity and accessibility. These rugged and damaged roads central bare with dry plants, uneven sidewalks, inaccessible for disabled people. About the public transportation, the terminal station of the Metropolitano Champurrio is located nearby. The Alimentaros route, Carvalho have three routes of public transport, the Carvalho Los Incas, Santo Domingo, and Universitario. So the Alimentadores bring people from Comas, Carvalho, and even from more distant districts. The next is about pedestrian and cycling mobility. There is no cycle path in the sector as in the entire district. Many areas, despite having paved roads, do not have sidewalks because there are many invasions of the city. And the final is the problems and risks. We have a lot of problems. Mototaxis, there are no formal stops for mototaxis, so they occupy a lane of the roads, generating traffic and crowded areas. And bus stops. The municipality is located in this area, so bus stops are controlled. However, at certain times, traffic is heavy on Tupac Amaru Avenue. Thank you.
In this section, I explain how the urban form is shaped by topography. According to the diagram, Caravaggio shows a clear height gradient that changes as the terrain rises. In the lower and more consolidated areas, close to avenues like Tupac Amaru and Universitaria, buildings typically reach 3 to 5 stories, built mostly with bricks and reinforced concrete. As we move toward intermediate zones such as Parque Zonal or Tropiche, heights decrease to 2 and 3 stories, and the amount of self-built constructions becomes more visible. In the highest areas like Lomas and Torreblanca, most homes are only one level and built wide with lighter materials such as adobe, quincha, or metal sheds. This contrast reveals how topography directly shapes Caravaggio's vertical urban landscape. Taller, denser buildings are possible in the valley, while on the steep slopes, construction becomes lower, lighter, and more fragile due to both physically and socioeconomic conditions. In the vulnerability and risk, we have two zones. The first zone near the valley contains compact gravel and rock, which results in short vibrations period and lower seismic amplifications. In the zone 2 contain the sand and clays of medium consistency, which increase seismic response and vulnerability, especially for 1 to 3 stories homes built without reinforcement. Meanwhile, along the Chilca River, the risk shifts from seismic to hydrocal. Intense rains can trigger flooding and overflowing, especially in extreme weather events. Even so, some parts of the riverbanks remain safe. The lack of proper planning increases exposure to these hazards. Overall, the slide shows how physical risk and social vulnerability overlap with lower income families often living in the most dangerous areas. Illustrate how public, semi-public, and private facilities are distributed across the sector. Most state public facilities, such as the district municipality, health post, and main parks, are located near major roadways. These areas benefit from better accessibility and attract daily flows of pedestrians and vehicles. Semi-public facilities like the Mancocapa Club or wholesale markets also generate important activity nodes that structure the district. However, the distribution is not uniform. As the urban fabric becomes denser or transitions into high-stack areas, access to facility becomes more limited. Educational centers, markets, and health service cluster around the central and lower areas, while the high zones remain undisturbed. Well, now describe the basic and functional service that support daily life in the district. Water and sewer networks provided by CEDAPAR reach most of the sector, though some peripheral areas still really or informal or incomplete connections. Electricity coverage is widespread, but street lighting remains weak on secondary roads. Waste collection is handled by the municipality. Yet garbage accumulation near markets continue to be a recurring issue. In terms of mobility, Tupac Amaru Avenue acts as the main connection point. Internal streets are painted but often show deterioration due to intense commercial activity. Public transport and mototaxis are available. Commercial service form another strong layer, especially around the value chain markets, which functions as a metropolitan hub. This boosts the local economy but also increases traffic and pressure on nearby streets. Overall, the, this first slide highlighting the service network that functions but need better regulation and infrastructure to improve quality and reduce urban stress.
In case of the SOA analysis, we have principally the strength that this part of the river is well connected to main avenues, to equipments like health, education, and public facilities, that it has a great number of safe zones nearby, and also the reliable access to water that we can use for a purpose more ecologic instead of wasting his potential. But in the case of the weakness, we have the lemon roads, no sidewalks, also the floor risks in the area nearby, the irregular waste collection, and the uncontrolled vertical expansion. That is the product of the threats that are most frequently seen in the part of the city. For example, the traffic congestion, the safety risks, the accumulation of the waste material, that is bad management, the rapid urban growth, that it can be near the river, that is very dangerous for the people because there is no some of safety form for them. But there is the case of the opportunities that we can improve these conditions with making soil improvement strategies to protect the river and the people, improve prudential infrastructure, and upgrade informal commercial. In case of the SOA analysis, we have principally the strength that this part of the river is well connected to main avenues, to equipments like health, education, and food. Next, we have the phase 3 of the project. In the case of the vision and the objectives, we have the principal vision that transforms Tion River from a risky frontier into a more safe space as a social environment hub that connects with the people. For that, we have strategic objectives that are separated in phases: the ecological, the urban, the mobility, and economic phase. For starters, in the ecological one, we want the water resilience and the sanitation and recovery of the river. Next, we want the green area deficit to be covered by implementing public spaces with plans of the area. Also, in the urban equipment, we want to generate that spark can become a meeting spot for a lot of people among all the ages. Also, the education cultural facilities that it can promote more of socialization among other activities. In the case of the mobility system, we want to prioritize the pedestrian and the use of more healthy forms to transport. And in the economic way, we want to formalize more the principal problem of the informal commercial. In the case of the vision and the objectives, we have the principal vision that transforms Tion River from a risky frontier into a more safe space as a social environment. In the case of approaches used for place marketing, we have four that are the most important for us. The principal one is the heritage-led placemaking. They focus on restore and activate historic sites that are open to all the public. Now we have the community-centric and tactical urbanism that it serves to build urban formal growth near the river, and it can implement commercial corridors, ecological corridors that connect with the city. Next, we have the resilience and risk informal place marketing that is focused mostly to buy places, that build places only for the commerciants and people with small business that they can make sales among other things for the people and can get benefits of them. And also the economic activation through public spaces that use public space to support the local economy, particularly generate works for people that work in that field. For example, the gardens, the commercials, the security, among other persons. In case of the reference, we have one national and one international. In the case of the national, it was the result of a municipal propose of a project that it have the principal concepts of urban regeneration and ecological connection using vegetation and biodiversity to create a biological corridor, a public space that integrates with the center of the city, and sustainable mobility that encourages the pedestrians and the cycling roads, and also the cultural identity that it have its public spaces center for that type of activities. Then we have the renaturalization of Chongyong stream in Seoul. That is the most successful project seen because before that project it was a sum of informal residential, but then it was transformed into a lineal park that it has a lot of activities that are principally the urban transformation nearby the river, rel- the public activation, the environment benefits, and the cultural symbolism of the evolution of the space that it was before something forgotten for the people.
Now, in ages involved, we have a project to recover the Chillon River. It's much more than an urban design plan. It is a path with our future. For this vision to become a reality, we have built a strategic alliance among all the key stakeholders. First and foremost, the local and regional government is the essential facilitator. Their role is to provide to regulatory framework to ensure this park is currently integrated into the city's mobility and green space network. However, the heart and soul of this project is our community. Through participatory workshops and cultural activities, residents are not just considered, but they become the true guardians of this space, ensuring its relevance and fostering a powerful sense of collective identity. The private sector and the local industry are fundamental partners. Their participation of corporate social responsibility is crucial, both for funding sustainable infrastructure and for implementing programs that reduce pollution at the source. And then we have national institutions such as the Ministry of Culture, who guarantee that our heritage is protected and promoted, weaving historical memories into the new landscape. And finally, we have the academia provides us with the technical knowledge and innovation, ensuring that every solution is resilient and sustainable for the long term. This multi-sector collaboration is without a doubt the strongest pillar of our proposal. Is it a warranty that we are not just building a park, but leaving and lasting legacy for Caraballo? Then we have the master plan. Our master plan presents a transformative vision of Caraballo, where the core mission is the ecological and social regeneration of the Chillon River. We are transforming its neglected banks into a vibrant public space for the entire community, spanning 2 hectares. This project is a key piece of green infrastructure designed to reconnect the urban fabric. The centerpiece is a new pedestrian bridge, a civic landmark that solves a historical divide. It will safely connect to separate communities, sliding travel times from 20 minutes to under 3. Furthermore, a system of elevated pathways and floating walkways will create a unique immersive experience along the river. These structures protect the fragile ecosystem while making the riverfront accessible and resilient to seasonal changes. They are establishing a new territorial logic, agreeing and ensure that guide sustainable growth and forge a new recognizable identity for Caraballo within in Lima. Then we have the master plan. Our master plan presents a transformative vision of Caraballo, where the core mission is the ecological and social regeneration of the. Then we have the page 4 of our project. Then we have the economic part of this project is multifaceted and designed to create lasting value. Firstly, it will formalize the local economy by creating a structure park environment that encourages registered business, increases access to retail, and boosts municipal tax revenue. Secondly, the new public space with its cultural venues and recreational areas will boost local commerce and tourism, bringing more visitors and customers to local shops and service. Furthermore, this project is a significant source of job creation. It will generate employment in the short term through construction and landscaping, and in the long term through the park management, security, and the operation of cultural facilities. By converting a risky, degraded area into safe and well-connected park, we increase property values and make the surrounding neighborhood more attractive for private invest. And finally, the focus of nature-based solution and sustainable water management fosters a green and circular economy, creating new opportunities in ecotourism and environmental service. And for the last, we have the social impact. This project is fundamentally about improving the quality of life for the people of Caraballo. First, it directly addresses community safety by transforming unsafe, abandoned areas into active, well-lit
public spaces, which naturally deters crime and provides overall security. It also delivers a major public health improvement. The ecological recovery is a new green areas will have help clean the air, reducing the respiratory issues that currently affect a large part of our population. The design strongly promotes the social cohesion by providing new gathering areas, cultural plazas, and recreational spaces. We strengthen connections between long-time residents and new generation, building a strong community identity. It also expands access to education and culture through a community center and educational spaces, offering new opportunities in a district with limited facilities. And crucially, it is an inclusive public space with pedestrian path, bikes, lane, and universally accessible areas. We ensure that children, senior, and people with reduced mobility can all use and enjoy the space equality.
Then we have the environmental impact, in which in this case this project generates a series of environmental benefits that work together as a part of an integrated system. And then through risk mitigation, the native vegetation reinforces the riverbank and reduces the flood pressure and stabilizes the soil. The microclimate improvement helps cool the area by lowering temperatures through the shades. Also, the project supports biodiversity enhancement by linking patches of vegetation to create a continuous ecological corridor for birds, pollinators, and other species. The ecosystem restoration is achieved through wetlands and filter organic matter, which can absorb contaminants. And finally, the air quality improvement allows vegetation to trap dust and soot while acting as a carbon sink that absorbs CO2 and releases oxygen. Then we have the urban impact. In this case, the project strengthens the district at multiple levels through the regulation of the urban and natural environment. The riverfront becomes a public space that elevates the image of Caraballo and fosters local identity. The urban connectivity and accessibility improves mobility through the bike lanes, pathways, and gathering areas that connect isolated neighborhoods. And then the intervention also fosters social cohesion and community strengthening by creating inclusive spaces for the recreation and cultural activities. In parallel, environmental mitigation and ecological restoration recovers green areas, reduces erosion, and improves environmental quality. Finally, the project generates a boost to a local economic development by enabling small commerce, fairs, cultural events, and neighborhood tourism. Next, we have the territorial impact. At a larger scale, the project refines the district relationship with its territory. Through the strategic integration of the district, it acts as a connector that links fragmented areas across the Chirun River, controlling urban expansion, which provides a green anchor that guides future growth and prevents disorderly development. The project also contributes to creating a new metropolitan centrally, turning Caraballo into an emerging landmark for Lima. With the development of a green corridor network, the intervention becomes a starting point for a larger ecological connectivity across the basin. And finally, the strengthening of the local identity and sense of space helps to transform neglected land into a space of community pride and meaning. Next, we have the territorial impact. At a larger scale, the project refines. And finally, we have the reflection of the role of the architect. In this project, the architect adopts some multiple roles. First, the architect acts as a territorial strategist, analyzing the territory as a complex system to guide responsible in development. The architect also promotes environmental restoration by integrating ecological solutions that strengthen the natural processes. Equally important, the architect strengthens social inclusion by working with residents, migrant communities, vendors, and organizations. At an institutional level, the architect serves as a bridge between the institutions, aligning different public and private actors toward a shared vision. And finally, the architect reinforces a local identity by transforming degraded sites into meaningful civic spaces rooted in community pride. Thank you so much for your attention. And finally, we have the reflection of the role of the architect. In this project, the architect adopts a multi